everybody? Welcome to the Darwin's Room channel. Thank you guys so much for joining me. Today we're going to be talking about the movie Hurry Up Tomorrow. Now this is a film that I was really looking forward to. It was my third most anticipated film of 2025 of this year. Specifically because of that movie back there, Waves. I love the movie Waves. When I first saw it, I instantly fell in love with it and everything about it, just how it was accomplished. It became my second favorite film of all time, right behind this movie, Flight. And so, needless to say, I was really looking forward to seeing Hurry Up Tomorrow. Not to say that I didn't have my concerns with it, because leading into it, the only reason it was on my most anticipated list was because of director Trey Edward Schultz. He is a master filmmaker. Even aside from Waves, I love his film, It Comes at Night. I think that movie was very much overlooked and had some really appreciative qualities in it. However, this film, Hurry Up Tomorrow, I did have concerns in terms of the weekend because I saw The Idol, or at least I saw a lot of clips from The Idol, and his performance there was pretty atrocious, not good. So yeah, I was wondering, is Trey Edward Schultz going to be able to pull out a good performance from The Weeknd, and make him be able to deliver something at least somewhat cohesive, and cognizant and able to really help me delve into this experience. So I had my concerns going into it. But nonetheless, I was looking forward to it. Again, one of my most anticipated of the year. And so I went to go see it just yesterday, my wife and I, and I'm severely disappointed by it. I hate for my first review back on YouTube to be a negative one, but unfortunately, it was a severe letdown. I want to start with the positives because I do like to try to remain as positive as possible. So let's start there. Visually, this film is really beautiful. There is some excellent cinematography, some really nice camera work. And yeah, it is just visually very stunning. It has a nice aesthetic to it. It looks nice. However, I don't know if it was just my particular theater or my particular showing. There were several sequences that were really dark, like dimly lit. You feel like you couldn't see anything. And I'm not sure if that was just me. It could have been just my showing. But if it wasn't, and if this is kind of like a constant issue, that is one thing I would say that kind of docks it down is that there's a lot of sequences that are way too dark where you can't really, it's hard to make out what you're seeing. And it takes away the impact of the overall technical triumph of it. Because again, outside of that, visually, it is a stunning film. It looks great, some nice camera work, some good effects in there, but it overdoes it at times. And it can be a little disorienting. I remember, I think it was the opening scene in Waves when the camera is spinning in the car and you're spinning with it. And they do a good job with it in Waves and it's not overdone. But in this film, I felt like they did that, but then added strobe lights to it. And it was really disorienting. I felt like I was gonna have a seizure. So if you have epilepsy, you're prone to that, don't watch this movie. It is a danger in that respect. Because even I myself, I thought I was gonna have a seizure. I don't know why they took that approach. I don't think it applied, and I don't think it helped. I don't think it elevated the quality of it in terms of the visual storytelling. Outside of the visuals, Jenna Ortega, she is fantastic in this movie. She's really unnerving. Like, she really delves into this character. And you can tell she takes a lot of inspiration from Kathy Bates, which is, this is essentially the parallel between this film and Misery from 1990 starring Kathy Bates, because I think that film inspired much of this film just with a different take and a different type of vision. And so Jenna Ortega, she is fantastic in this movie. I really enjoyed her, but she always does a great job. I'm never really concerned about, is Jenna Ortega going to give a good performance? She always does. I always enjoy seeing her. Barry Keoghan, I hope I'm saying his last name right. I'm not good with names, so I apologize in advance for that. He does an okay job in the movie. I really like him as an actor, but I think his performance just, he does what he can with what he's given. You know, his character is really unlikable. I didn't like his character. He was just not my cup of tea, I guess you could say. And he also has very limited screen time. So you don't really have a chance to connect with him that much anyway. So he feels underutilized, most definitely. The Weeknd, his performance is okay. It's decent. It's good enough to be okay with it. You know, there weren't any moments where I was like, oh, his performance is so bad that I'm cringing like he was in The Idol. I think this character fit him much better, likely because he probably wanted this character to represent much of himself. So yeah, he does an okay job, but definitely I wouldn't say it was great. You know, it was fine. It was fine. But I could see people hating the performance too, because it's not like it was a good one either. But it was fine, you know, very passable. But the real issue with this movie is the writing, or lack thereof. There are several sequences that I feel like they wanted to take an approach where they wanted the scene essentially to say, let the silence speak for itself. But there's no substance to really justify that decision, that creative decision. There's been movies that have done that before, and it works great. But there's a time and there's a place for that. And that doesn't really work here, especially because there's no substance. Leading up to these moments where there's such a focus on silence, there's no story buildup. You know, this movie clocks in at an hour and 50 minutes or so, and the plot doesn't actually start until around the 40-minute mark, maybe a little bit after 40 minutes. So after that, you really only have an hour to tell a cohesive story. And they don't really do that. It's unfocused and feels like it's without a purpose and like it's searching for its purpose. I will say, there are themes, some nice themes that they try to explore well, but they're, again, underexplored. But there are some good themes in terms of kind of tied into this twist about insomnia and sleep paralysis, that they bring some tension early in the movie. And it kind of explores this idea of our worst fears becoming reality, and how our biggest mistakes that we've made in life are the things that come back to haunt us, or are the things that keep us up at night, kind of thing. And so they do a good job in terms of portraying those themes, but it felt surface level, because like what I was just saying, that's a deep theme, and I would have really enjoyed a better exploration of that, but this film doesn't really do a good job fully committing to that, you know? It was very much a letdown in terms of the emotionally compelling journey that was Waves. And even It Comes at Night was, I think, a lot more compelling than this. This was, I don't like to say it, but it was pretentious, and it felt very conceited. It felt like a desperation for attention, you know, and it felt like an advertisement, a 1 hour, 50-minute long advertisement on The Weeknd's latest album trilogy. And I like The Weeknd's music, and I've enjoyed these albums for the most part, but I don't think it justified a film, and it surely didn't justify having the whole film be solely dedicated to that without providing some sort of an original, unique, bringing something new to the table. It didn't do that. So it didn't really justify its runtime, it didn't justify its existence. So yeah, I wasn't huge on this movie. Jenna Ortega's great. There is some really nice visuals. You know, visually it is a really stunning film outside of some moments that are disorienting and several sequences actually that are way too dark. But I don't know if that was just my theater, so I'm not going to judge it on that. But outside of that, there's really no substance. In my written review on my Instagram page and on my letterbox, the way that I described it was all aesthetic, no substance. This movie is all about how it looks in terms of what it's trying to portray, but not actually giving you what it's trying to do. It felt like it was deeper than what it was, so it was just disappointing. Again, sucks that my first review back on YouTube is such a negative one. I try to give movies a fair shake, even if I don't like them. I try to give them some credit where it's due. But no, this one was just bad. So without further ado, I'm gonna give Hurry Up Tomorrow a 1.5 out of 5 stars. If you are a fan of The Weeknd, give it a watch. I mean, his music plays throughout the entire film, and I can't lie, it's a good soundtrack. The music sounds good. I like the songs. But in terms of substance, if you were looking for something in terms of like cinematic quality and providing a good story, it drops the ball there. It had good intentions, but I think it just didn't explore its themes enough, and it felt too unfocused. I think it really needed to laser in on these themes and the plot rather than kind of meandering around and giving The Weeknd a lot of close-up shots, which is why I say the movie felt conceited. So it drops the ball in a lot, but again, if you like his music and that's why you want to watch it, sure, watch it, but otherwise it's really not worth your time. So yeah, 1.5 out of 5 stars. Let me know what you guys thought of it. Have you watched Hurry Up Tomorrow? Have you been wanting to watch it? Were you looking forward to it? Did you anticipate that it was gonna be a bomb? I was taken aback by it. I was really looking forward to this one. So anyways, thank you guys so much for tuning in, for watching this episode, watching this review. I really appreciate all of your guys' support. God bless you all. Comment down below, let me know your thoughts, and feel free to subscribe, and I'll talk to you guys in the next one. Take care.